What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here today to talk about The Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 3, Episode 3, Courtside Conundrum. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let's jump around into it. Now, full disclosure, so everyone kind of went into this episode just ready to see Heather and Whitney go at it, because that was like how this episode, like we knew it was going down this episode. And it did happen, but in like the last 2 minutes. So it's like a to be continued kind of thing. So it's like, so we got that a little bit, but we'll learn more in the next episode. But yeah, it seems interesting. But it stems from Whitney just being on. Whitney is just like on one. That's the entire fucking episode, to be honest. She's just like, I don't know. She's all about, I'm on this healing journey, but she's just starting shit. Like, I don't know. But yeah, and it was just jump around into the episode. So we pick up with the ladies at the table. They're outside. It's the evening, and they just wrapped up the shaman little experience. Whitney's telling the women about the abuse she went through. She says that it happened generationally, and that she's trying to break the cycle for her family. She says it felt good to really open up, and she says she feels the support from her friends. She says it in the confessional. Whitney then says that it's important for everyone to just kind of be vulnerable, put shit on the table, and just really to not hold stuff in. And she basically passes the baton to Lisa and Meredith. She's like, okay, yeah, you know, so I'm on this healing journey, and what I've learned is just, you know, to really open up and to just really just let yourself be vulnerable. So hopefully you guys can get to a better place, you know, but I know it's kind of difficult for you too. So, you know, just totally just passes the buck off to them. It was like, okay, Whitney, so he's getting started with that. Lisa goes on to say that she regrets her poor choice of words. And Meredith's like, oh, so you regret your choice of words, but you don't regret the hatred and vitriol that you spewed at me? Like, you don't regret that, you just regret how you delivered it, you know what I mean? And Meredith says that she's never confided in Lisa because she's never trusted her in the 10 years they were friends. So I'm like, oh, damn, that's a bold statement. I thought they were fairly close, but maybe Meredith saw them more as acquaintances, maybe. I don't know, but that's what Meredith claims. And so she goes on to say that the stuff, therefore, like, because she never confided in Lisa, the stuff that she spewed at her during her little infamous rant, you know, the garbage trash whore who's fucked half in New York, her husband can't keep a job, her family poses, all that bullshit, she had to have pulled it out of her ass. She had to have made it up. Though Lisa denies this in the confessional. So when the producer asks her, like, oh, did you make up the stuff that you said about Meredith? And Lisa's like, no. And that's the truth. So I don't know, man. Lisa and Meredith proceed to go back and forth, and Lisa keeps interrupting Meredith, and Meredith goes on to just talk down on her, and she's just like, oh, Lisa, you have to let me speak. Like, it's very rude to interrupt me. Like, let me finish. Like, but just the tone in her voice and stuff. There's some people on Twitter who didn't like it, but it's like, I'm not mad at it, because, again, it's like, Meredith was so chill in Season 1, and Season 2, she was basically, like, going through it the entire season, first with Jen Shah, and then with Lisa towards the end. Oh, and then with Whitney in the middle with her like, Meredith went through it last season. So I don't blame Meredith coming back with guns blazing. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't. I feel like any rational person would be coming back, like, just ready. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not mad at Meredith talking down to Lisa. You know what I mean? It's like, would it be annoying and could it become, like, you know, interpreted in, like, an odd way? Yeah, but it's like, I don't know, it's like Meredith's not friends with Lisa right now. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's fair game, you know? Meredith goes on to say that Lisa needs help, and when Lisa kind of, and she's like, oh, well, you know, what do you mean by that? And Meredith's like, oh, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but, and Heather and Whitney are into like, oh, no, don't do that, you're gonna, like, trigger her, you're gonna piss her off. And I was like, huh. Like, this shows that Lisa has had to have talked to both of them about how she doesn't like, because obviously after her whole rant thing, people kind of call in question, like, oh my gosh, is she having an episode? Did she, like, have a break, like a mental health thing? Like, and Lisa was kind of like, don't question her mental health, don't do that shit. So you can tell, like, I didn't know that was, like, a trigger for Lisa, as, I believe it's Heather put it that way. But yeah, so that pisses Lisa off, and Heather goes on to say in the confessional that, the words coming out of Meredith's mouth, they aren't, like, dirty, they're not bad, she's not even cursing or anything. but they could cut a bitch, you know what I mean? Whitney then employs Lisa to basically explain where her hurt comes from. She's like, explain yourself, Lisa. Just explain where your hurt comes from. Like, just open up. Be vulnerable. Lisa begins to discuss how she's felt disregarded by Meredith for the past year and a half. And it's going okay. You know, it's all right up until Lisa casually fucking says, yo, I'm not going to slit my wrist for anyone, you know? And she, like, just casually says that while she's talking, just, like, super quick. And Meredith, she's like, that is a terrible thing to say. Like, that's horrible. And Lisa, she's like, oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Like, what I mean is... And Meredith is like, oh my gosh, just stop. Like, just, no. And so she's kind of, like, put off by that. And everyone's just kind of like, oh my god. Like, Heather is like, she's like, oh my god. Whitney just has her fucking head in her hand. I was like, see what you did? Like, why do you have to it makes for good TV, but it's just like, Whitney is just stirring shit. Like, someone on Twitter, they said, like, okay, if people think that Kyle's a pot stirrer, Whitney is a fucking blender in the, like, turned on with the lid off. Like, it's all in the name of healing. You know what I mean? At least when Kyle does it, she, like, does it with, like, a knowing, like, smirks, like, hey, I'm the producer, I'm doing shit. Whitney's, like, genuinely like, oh my gosh, we have to, like, get to a better place. We have to heal. Address this shit. And then just drama pours out of it. You know, she's genuinely thinking she's gonna help everyone. It's just like, oh my god. So now Jen interjects and she kind of talks to Lisa. She's like, oh, you know, Meredith has a family member who attempted suicide. And Lisa's like, oh my god, I didn't know. And Meredith's like, you didn't know? Like, she, like, kind of gets pissed off. She's like, oh, of course you didn't. Like, she's just kind of upset by that. In her confessional, Whitney goes on to say that, oh, this is just how Lisa speaks, you know, and we then see a scene of Lisa saying the same phrase earlier that same day when talking to Whitney one-on-one. So it shows that Lisa does just talk like that. She's like, it wasn't a dig or anything. She just says that shit, like, it's just in her vocabulary, basically what Whitney's saying. And then Whitney accuses Meredith of pulling at any string that she can to still be mad at Lisa. She's like, oh, you know, Lisa didn't mean it like that. Meredith's just looking for reasons to be upset. And there are a couple people, like, seemingly agreeing with that. Like, I believe Queens of Bravo uploaded the clip, and people in the comments were like, oh, you know, Meredith is just gonna be upset at Lisa for anything. And it's like, this, you know, this is up, you know, on par. Like, I totally see Meredith genuinely being upset by it. You know what I mean? I can see a lot of people being upset with that, especially when someone who, like, did you dirty says that shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. So I disagree with Whitney on that one. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I don't think that Meredith's looking for you to be mad at Lisa. Like, she doesn't like Lisa. It's just that, like, but this, yeah, I don't know. Whitney was just saying that Meredith's reaching. I don't agree with that. What do you think? I don't know. I get why Meredith's upset with that. Jen Shah then has a little moment, again, another little, like, oh, I appreciate all your guys' support right now. I'm just kind of going through it. Just a little moment like that before Meredith tells Lisa, I appreciate your apology, and I hear you. We are not at a point of resolution yet. If that's what you want, we'll have to have another, like, much more discussion. But I do appreciate your apology. Thank you. Just like that, like, verbatim. Lisa, like, takes it in. She's like, okay, like, I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Thank you for accepting. Whitney then suggests, she's like, oh, we should set something on fire. And it's like, girl, shut up. Like, I think just to kind of put the issue to bed or something. It's like, Whitney, did you not fucking hear it? Like, the issue's not put to bed. Like, it's, you know what I mean? But, yeah, and Heather's like, why don't we light Lisa on fire? She might be open for that. And that was just so fucking funny. It was just... Because, yeah, Lisa just put her fucking foot in her mouth. She just, like, can't do anything. Like, it's just like, oh my god, Lisa. And then we fast forward to the morning of day 2. Jen, she has her fucking megaphone. She's walking around. She's like, wake up, hoes. And she's like, there's some hoes in this house. Yeah, she was running around like that. And she says that they're going on a bike riding and drinking excursion kind of thing. They had something similar on New Jersey when they were in Nashville this past season. They had something like in the end of the season trip. So yeah, they're doing that, and then we see Lisa on the phone with John, and she reveals that she also planned a little rodeo experience, so we'll see those two scenes next. But first, while ladies are getting ready, we see Heather having an interaction with Meredith. She first makes fun of her because Meredith brought glam to Scottsdale, and Heather's just talking shit. She's like, oh, you know, who's she getting ready for? For the cacti? For the tumbleweeds? And it's like, girl, I'm sick of Heather. Like, why does Heather continuously think that Utah is, like, so much better than fucking Arizona? Like, I'll have you know that Phoenix is the most populous state capital in the United States. And, like, I looked it up. Arizona has over twice as many people as Utah. So it's like, girl, like, what are you saying? Like, well, shut up. And okay, I've talked my fair shit about Arizona. Like, I'm from California. So it's like, California and Arizona just don't really like each other. It's mostly Arizona. Arizona just does not like California, and turning California talks about Arizona. It's that kind of thing. But yeah, so it's like, I've talked my fair shit about Arizona, especially on the road. I'm like, you fucking zony. But anyways, it's like, girl, you're from Utah. Like, I would think that Utah is, like, lower than Arizona. You know what I mean? Like, honestly. Anyway, so yeah, Heather keeps talking as though Utah's much bomber than Arizona. It's like, girl, shut the hell up. Heather then talks to Meredith about the situation with Lisa. And she says she, like, doesn't know what Lisa can do to show that, like, she wants to be Meredith's friend again. Heather says that Meredith's coming off as a condescending and superior bitch. And it's like, first of all, I don't even know why Heather's butting her nose into this, to be honest. Heather, you know how Heather is. She's, like, all about friendship, second chances, blah, 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 but whatever. Meredith, then, she kind of disagrees, and she doubles down her stance. She's like, I just don't want to be mistreated by someone who's my friend. Like, that's just not how I want to roll. It's like, so what, that makes me superior and condescending? Heather then goes on to say, like, okay, well, I get that, but I want you to take a second and think about how you're giving other people a second chance, but not Lisa. Basically, passively, indirectly referencing Jen, you know, because remember, Meredith and Jen were going at it last season for, like, basically all season, basically. But yeah, but now she's all cool with her and shit, so it's like, so, I don't know, I think Heather makes a point with that, but at the same time, it's like, I think Meredith expected more from Lisa, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, she may have, I don't know how long she knew Jen for, but she knew Lisa for, like, about 10 years, like, I think she may have had higher expectations of her, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, so I get what Heather's saying, but it's like, again, I just don't think it's really any of her business, you know what I mean? To be honest, I get it, they're like a 5-person cast, you know, she kind of has to, but I don't know, but anyways, Heather goes on to say that she wants Meredith to just fucking have fun, just not to have drama and stuff, and Heather says she's just frustrated because she knows that Meredith is capable of giving Lisa a second chance. She just doesn't want to. And yeah, and Heather just says, you know, she understands where Meredith's coming from, but she's just over it. She's like, girl, let's move on, girl, like, I get it, I get why you're upset, but, like, come on. Basically, that's what Heather's saying. We then have the party bike. It's just basically this dude, like, kind of steering in a little bar area, and the girls are all sitting down, pedaling, drinking wine and shit. It's hella fucking lit. The wine's in, like, these little boxes, though, you know, so I have to have glass. It's hella lit. Winnie starts getting all fucking extra. There's, like, this little tiny, like, because they're, like, the bar area, so, like, the little pole connecting the bar to, like, the little canopy thing. Winnie gets out, she's like, oh, I just saw a stripper pole, and she's dancing on it, and she's, like, fucking hanging from, like, the fucking top, like, she's just on one. Whitney's just having all kinds of fun. The ladies are fucking they're, like, showering her in booze, they're all, like, pouring the wine on her and shit. It's kind of fucking yucky. I'm like, oh, it's all sticky, like, oh my god, like, I couldn't deal with it. Because they're pouring it on her, and Whitney was upside down at one point, and Jen was, like, pouring it, like, down her, because Whitney was wearing a skirt. She was, like, pouring it, like, directly onto her fucking coochie. And I was like, oh my god. And she was, like, a confessional, like, yeah, we all know that Whitney likes, like, a wet coochie, so, like, I gotta make it, like, something like, it was like, oh my god. Like, it was just so fucking gross. Then everyone starts throwing wine on each other. It's just this whole thing. Winnie clocks even Lisa and Meredith, who are on opposite sides of each other, they're kind of throwing on each other. It's just a fun thing, little a little food fight kind of thing. So yeah, it's good vibes. And so then we see the ladies, they get dropped off from the bike, and then it cuts to commercial. And then when they come back, the ladies are like in a Sprinter van rolling up to this little ranch area. It's for the Escaramuza riders, like these women who like ride horse, and it's like a choreography kind of thing. They were featured in a Dior 2019 fashion show, and they were featured in Vogue as well. There's a little rodeo. It's a rodeo event Lisa planned. But what's noteworthy, so these bitches are in the exact same clothes they wore on, they were just throwing they're just wearing when they're throwing wine on each other. Which for everyone else, it's not too bad, but like, for Whitney, that's bad. It's like, did Whitney shower? Did she get wipies at least? Like, I don't know. I couldn't stop thinking about that. Because they're all wearing the same thing. I was like, I can't imagine that they would have, like, undressed, showered, and, like, you know. So I'm sure that they just went off the bike into the Sprinter van. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh my God. Again, for everyone else, it's like, whatever. But for Whitney, it's like, oh my gosh. Because she got a lot of, like, wine thrown on her. Like, to be honest. We then see 8 riders, the Escaramuza riders. They're performing a private drill show for them. It's beautifully choreographed, and we learned some history. So they're wearing these dresses that are based off of the Las Alitas. They're these women who like fought in the Revolutionary War alongside the men, and they sit on the horses like sideways, like just in a different way. It's just like some history about it. It's pretty cool little event. They didn't bring out these little other, Adelita dresses for ladies to kind of try on and shit, and, they go to change into them. Heather and Lisa then go off to the side, and as they go to change, they talk about the conversation that Heather had with Meredith earlier. They both think that Meredith's just keeping it going. She's like, you know, how much more can Lisa do? Like, so I'm like, okay, like, Heather seems to be kind of leaning towards Lisa's side on this, at this point. Heather's just done with the drama. We already know Heather's all about making up and friendship and shit, so she wants Lisa and Meredith to make up. Meanwhile, Meredith tells Jen and Whitney that she doesn't believe that Lisa thinks that she did anything wrong last year. Meredith's basically like, she's only upset because she got caught. She's doing that Rihanna song, if you don't know. And yeah, Whitney, she then goes on to say it. She's like, oh, well, it's unfair to hold Lisa to the cross, as she puts it, when we've all heard stuff about her, basically referencing the conversation that they had back at Whitney's house in the last episode. Because remember, Meredith went over with her lawyer self and was like, oh, I've heard, you know, I've heard rumors about her. Whitney wanted to ask about it. Meredith dropped a very vague bit of information. Oh, I heard she does favors to get Vita Tequila by. Whitney responds by confirming these rumors and giving a very explicit rumor about it, like, oh yeah, I heard she slept with this one guy to get him to invest in Vita, or so like, she's talking about that conversation. Whitney goes on to say that it's hypocritical. Meredith points out that, like, okay, well, I didn't spread the rumors. I only vaguely alluded to them. Like, it's very different. Whitney thinks that Meredith's playing semantics, and it's like, well, she's not wrong. It's like, Meredith is playing semantics, but she's not wrong. She won a reality show, bitch. We have footage. Like, she's playing semantics because it all is semantics. I mean, it's like, did she say it? Did she not say it? Did you say this? Did you say that? Did you add on to it? Did you leave something? Like, it's very precise. You know what I mean? But yeah, Whitney's just, again, she's just on with the entire fucking episode. Whitney then says that Meredith came to her talking shit. But Meredith says, well, Whitney, you came saying some stuff too. Because remember, Meredith was very vague with what she said, but Whitney fucking took it, like, way further. So, yeah, I still get... Whitney's just big mad that Meredith fucking... Whitney's, like, realizing that she's, like, fell into Meredith's trap, and now she has this piece of information that she, like, feels obligated to do something with. And so she's pissed off about it, basically. Whitney's upset that she let herself be fooled by Meredith, essentially. Whitney then says that she thinks that Meredith has to tell Lisa about what they talked about in order for them to move on. But, just like Heather, Meredith says that this is not the time or place. This is like for Jen. This is a supporting Jen trip. And they keep fucking saying it is a support Jen trip. Girl, this is a season-starting drama trip. Like, fuck Jen at this point. You know what I mean? Like, Jen being supported is like the least of our, like, oh, what's going on at this place. You know what I mean? The ladies then regroup all together, and they have like a little guided riding practice. Like ladies like sit on the horses while wearing the dresses, and they sit in that way. And the professional riders like walking the horse with them and shit, just really chill and shit. Whitney's too pussy to actually get on the horse though. She's like walking next to the lady, and it's like, damn. We then fast forward to the evening. Remember, this is the second night of Scottsdale. Ladies are all prepping for the garbage trash whore lingerie party. While Whitney's getting ready, she's kind of talking to Heather, and she says she's bothered because she says that Meredith came to her with the rumors, and she feels like she has to tell Lisa that they talked about it. And honestly, Whitney's tripping, to be honest. She straight up says that she's trying to mend a bridge between Meredith and Lisa, and Heather disagrees. She's like, it doesn't look like that. Whitney, she's like, I don't know. She just feels this like, it's reminding me how she was last season, kind of. Because remember when Whitney was like dying for Mary's approval, dying for Mary's attention, dying for Mary's friendship. Mary just wasn't interested. And Heather, Whitney was like, I love you, Mary Cosby. Like, why can't we be friends? Like, I thought we were, like, she was just so set on that. I think that's how she is with Lisa now. Like, Lisa gave her the slightest inch of like, oh yeah, you're all right. And Whitney's like, yes, we're friends. I have to be loyal to her after learning this information. It's like, Whitney's so fucking desperate for these people's, like, fucking friendship. And it's, like, pretty fucking sad. And it's crazy. She reminds me of someone I know. Ooh. T. Oh, my God. But no. So she's just so desperate for that shit. Whitney says some bullshit about, like, oh, I'm processing my family secrets. And I don't want to engage in that shit anymore. So I have to tell us to Lisa. And it's like, girl, what? Like, oh my God, basically, I'm on this healing journey. So I have to open up and just get rid of this energy. And like, it's, I don't know, man. It's like weird. But yes, they're all getting ready for the garbage trash whore lingerie party. Whitney and Heather just in some like regular lingerie. Meredith, she's wearing these leather pants, this like little corset thing, and this hat that says I Heart New York on it. It's like, oh my gosh. And Lisa's boring ass is straight up wearing some fucking pajamas. Like, she's wearing these, like, silk fucking regular ass pajamas. Lisa says she feels sexy. I don't know. Heather says that's the Mormon in Lisa. She's like, oh yes, nary a nipple or cleavage in sight. You know, just like a good Mormon girl. Whitney then goes outside to do some grilling, and she takes Jen, who's wearing this, like, kind of, this lingerie bodysuit kind of thing. She takes her out there with her, just kind of chat, and, she asked Jen, because remember, when she was talking with Meredith, Meredith said, oh yeah, Jen told me some stuff about her hearing that there's some rumors about Lisa having an affair. And so Whitney was going to ask Jen about that. She was like, well, you know, is that true? Like, what's that about? Jen says that Meredith is the one who brought it up, and Jen was like, yeah, I heard it. Basically, that Meredith did the same thing she did, like, with Jen, Meredith was like, oh, you know, did you hear about that? Like, I heard about these rumors. And Jen was like, yeah, I also heard these rumors. And that was that. The difference is that Meredith tried doing the same thing with Whitney. Whitney confirmed it, and she, like, added to it. That's where Whitney fucked up. That's where Whitney has no one else to blame but herself. You know what I mean? Whitney fucked up because she added to that. Like, Meredith, like, passed the baton to both of them. Jen was like, oh, yeah, she, like, confirmed it. And, like, you know, they both just held on to it for, you know, whatever. Whitney fucking ran with that shit. So, yeah. Then, speak of the devil, Meredith herself walks up, and she confirms that she and Jen talked about it. They basically just, like, confirmed notes, according to Meredith. Whitney then says she feels as though Meredith put Whitney in the middle. But Meredith points out that, you know, well, Whitney, you said a lot more than I did. You know what I mean? It's like, you can complain that I put you in the middle, but it's like, bitch, you contributed a lot more to that conversation. Because remember, all Meredith said was, you know, I heard these rumors that she was doing favors to get Via Tequila by. I don't know. That's absurd. I don't know if they're true. Whitney, oh yes, I've heard that same thing. And I also heard blah, blah, blah. And she said even more, as we learn right now. Because we see a replay of Whitney saying that Angie Harrington, Angie H, the one we met last season, she came out with Lisa Barlow, and she had that event for the LGBTQ charity, and she's also Whitney's cousin, that girl. Whitney says that she was with Angie H at a Utah Jazz game, and they both saw John and Jack Barlow sitting in the alleged investor whom Lisa's sleeping with. So she saw Lisa's husband and their son sitting in his seats. I don't know if they're like his, like for the season or whatever, at a Utah Jazz game, like these courtside fucking seats. So yeah, this comes into play later on. But anyways, Winnie says, oh, well, it doesn't matter that she said much more, basically. And she's like, well, Meredith still brought it up. And it's like, well, who cares if Meredith brought it up? You're the one who, like, engaged in it. You took it further. It's like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, Meredith brought the subject up, but you're the one who, like, did, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh my god. But yeah, Whitney just feels, she's just upset that she, like, let herself fucking be put in a situation. She's just fucking trying to blame it all on Meredith. That's what I'm seeing. It's just, like, Whitney just trying to, like, she's upset she let it get to this point, basically. And, but yeah, that bitch will make it much worse. Because, Whitney says that she needs Lisa to know. In order for her and Lisa to authentically move forward, Lisa needs to know the information. But she wants Meredith to bring it up. And Meredith's like, why the fuck would I let her know? I don't give a shit. Like, you're the one tripping about this. You know what I mean? But yeah. Whitney then gets pissed off. And she says, like, everyone expects me to be Nancy Drew because they drop information on my lap. Blah, blah, blah. So she's all upset about this shit. Because, again, she's upset that she's letting this shit... She's letting herself be used as a pawn for drama. It makes her good TV, but she's just, like... She's on a healing journey. She doesn't want to be a part of that shit. And she's all fucking mad. She storms inside. Jen and Meredith go in after her. It's kind of separate from being outside to inside. And everyone's sitting at the table. Whitney then tells everyone to shut the fuck up. She's like, okay, everyone just shut up. Just shut up and let me get this out my own way. I was just like, okay, just chill. Like, Whitney's on one. I'm like, how drunk is Whitney right now? Like, honestly, like, how drunk is Whitney? Like, this is, like, a serious question. Because they drank a lot on the party bike. She was wilding out then. She's on one, like, I don't know. Like, Whitney, is she, like, drunk? Like, to be honest. Whitney then tells Lisa that she feels conflicted because while she feels that she and her are having a friendship for the first time ever, she talked with Meredith about some rumors about her and her marriage and stuff like that. Whitney then goes on to say that Meredith went to her with the rumors and she's taking herself out of the middle. And it's like, bitch, there was no middle before. Like, it was between you and Meredith at first. There was no fucking middle. Like, now you're in the middle. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my goodness. Like, just so fucking stupid. It's like, who's gonna tell her? Like, who's gonna tell her? Lisa then says she's shocked, and she's like, oh, you know, retaliation's a bitch, and in her confessional, Lisa's like, oh, well, I thought families were off limits, Meredith. I thought families were off limits. I thought marriages were off limits. I guess that's not the case, huh? So Lisa's just kind of crying foul, basically. Lisa then thanks Whitney, and she's like, well, what was said about me? And Whitney straight up tells her, she's like, okay, well, there are rumors that you were sleeping with, I think she says a name, or she says, like, who the guy works for or something. They bleep it out. And Lisa's like, oh my gosh, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. That's so disgusting. It's this old dude who's like a mentor for her or some shit, something like that. Meredith then says that she heard the rumor about Lisa fucking a dude from Whitney, and only Whitney. Because remember, all Meredith said was, oh, I heard that Lisa was kind of doing favors for that. But she didn't mention a specific rumor, the specific guy. She didn't mention, like, sexual favors. Now, she said favors, but she didn't mention, like, having sex or things like that. That was all Whitney. Whitney, she claims that Meredith told her about the sexual favors comment, but it's like, she said favors, not sexual favors. You added that yourself. Meredith made sure to, again, Whitney said it's a semantics game. Well, bitch, it is a semantics game, because you're the one who looks stupid now. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, Lisa has a whole moment. She's like, does it feel good to hurt me? Whitney then says, this is retaliation. We're not involved, and you two have to work this out. In the confessional, Heather says that Whitney's like a runaway train, and that she's, just totally on one, as I've been saying. She says that, stirring up trouble is the opposite of healing. And it's like, oh, damn. Like, Heather's, like, making the same observations, like, the audience is making, essentially, at this point. Because, like, Whitney's just on one, dude. And just like, oh, my God. Like, I didn't want to talk about, because I talked about Whitney in the last, like, she was the last episode's title and thumbnail. So I didn't want to make this one about her as well, but it was, like, impossible not to. Whitney was, like, that much on one this entire fucking episode. Like, from fucking passing the baton to Lisa and Meredith and at the end of night 1 to, like, this whole shit with Meredith and later on with fucking Heather. She's just everywhere, to be honest. Lisa is basically fucking hysterical. She says she needs to call John, and she runs off crying. And it's honestly, it's gonna sound so bad. It was really fucking funny. Just, like, the manner in which she, like, ran out. She, like, almost skipped out with, like, like, running, her hair is all bouncing. It's just so funny. Like, I'm not the only one. Don't be mad. Don't blame me. I'm not the only one who thought it was funny. Lisa goes on to say that John, Jack, and Henry are her entire life, and she's just, like, crying and upset that someone would, like, jeopardize that, essentially, in her mind. Which causes Jen to break down because same. She's like, I've lost so much. Like, all I really have is my family. It's all I really have. Like, it just causes... So we have 2 bitches crying now, and Heather is pissed. Like, she's just like, way to go, cuz. Like, wow. Like, yeah, sure. In the name of peace, try to, like, get this off your chest. Now look what you did. Now Lisa's crying, Jen's crying, Meredith's upset, like, ugh. Meredith and Heather then proceed to call Whitney out for causing confusion with that whole fucking debacle. Meredith then proceeds to kind of go to clear it up with Lisa, who is pissed. So Meredith knocks on her door and goes in, and Lisa, like, tries kicking her out of the room. But Meredith's going to say, just hear me out. And she said that she had no idea about the rumors until Whitney said them. But Whitney's putting the blame on Meredith. So, but as we know what happened. Whitney's like, she took the bait and now she's looking like a bad guy, but she's refusing to, like, go down like that. She's like, no, Meredith's the one who fucking came to me with that. So that's basically what's going on. Meredith proceeds to apologize to Lisa for bringing vague rumors up and seeking clarity on them. She's like, that's all it was. I wasn't spreading shit. I brought these vague things up for clarity. She's the one who mentioned that specific instance. Like, that was not me. I had nothing to do with that. And yeah, and Heather, meanwhile, she's pissed because this whole trip was to uplift Jen. And she's like, and now look at this. Now look what we're doing. Like, it's just a whole mess. Lisa then steps away to go compose herself and just basically go to bed. She's like, all right, I'm done with this shit. And she leaves the ladies, us ladies there. Whitney, she's emotional, and she says that Meredith just isn't budging on what happened. It's like, cause bitch, like, that's not the truth. Like, again, Whitney's drunk. Like, there's no fucking way this bitch isn't drunk. Like, oh my god. She's all emotional. She's upset that Meredith isn't changing her story, essentially. And Whitney says that she's tired of being thrown under the bus. She's tired of being thrown under the bus. It's like, Whitney, you crawl under the bus and then cry when it runs you. It's like, girl, like, it's like Meredith was under the bus and called Whitney over, and Whitney willingly got under the bus, and Meredith got out, but Whitney stayed there. You know what I mean? It's basically what it was. It was like that. I feel like that's the kind of thing. It's like, no one's throwing you under the bus, girl. Like, you are going down there yourself, and you're staying there. Like, that's the thing. Heather then says that by how Whitney told the story to her, but how she relayed the information, she thought that Meredith was the one who brought the allegations up. But Whitney was on the whole time. Then Whitney gets kind of upset, and she said, like, oh, Heather, you were there when Angie made the comments. You know the whole story already. And Heather's like, wait, what? Like, because they were all at a Utah Jazz game, and they, like, took a selfie together and shit. But Heather's like, no, I didn't hear or know any of that. And Whitney, she's like, no, we all, like, were going on our way to take a selfie, and Angie said it right then and there. But Heather's like, well, I didn't hear that fucking piece of information. Like, don't you think I would have loved to hear that? Like, don't you think that would have been the juiciest shit in the world? Like, Heather was almost saying, like, Bitch, I didn't hear that, but I wish I fucking had. Like, that's basically what her thing was. Whitney then calls Heather a liar, which pisses her off. But to be fair, Heather also called Whitney a lie. So Heather said Whitney was lying at first. Then Whitney said the same thing back. And this pisses Heather off, though. And they proceed to go at it. Like, the music in the background changes. And it's like the very end of the episode. It's like the credits are rolling. And the camera person, like, the footage is almost, it's kind of like, you can tell they're readjusting right now. You can tell almost like, I interpreted that as like, they were surprised. Like, they were like, okay, yeah, shit's going down between Whitney and Meredith and, you know, Lisa. Then we see Heather and Whitney kind of having a disagreement, and it continues, like, it just escalates and escalates. And like, oh shit, like, oh shit. Like, it was like moving, you know what I mean? And, yeah, and Heather's like, fuck you for calling me a liar, and she's like, storms off, and yeah, it's to be continued, and it's like, hot damn, like, usually, like, I would have killed for this to be a fucking, like, extra, like, another 15 minutes longer, because the last episode was 15 minutes longer, this one was a regular length, but it was like, damn, like, it was like, towards the last 2 minutes, I was so pissed, but... Oh my god. But so far I'm Team Heather, because Whitney's just fucking on one. So, like, to be honest. So, yeah, it was just crazy. It was a really fucking crazy episode, to be honest. And it's barely episode 3. Oh my god. So hopefully this is gonna go down this season. Oh my gosh. But anyways, that's it for this episode. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and... stay tuned for more, because like I said, it's fucking going down over in Salt Lake City. Well, it's going down in Scottsdale right now, but you know what I mean. Anyways, thank you again for watching. Bye.